Hello everyone. We are back from Texas. We just came back from doing the Dallas International Guitar Festival, as well as some other shopping, and we ended up coming back with a bunch of new gear. This show was definitely interesting acquisition-wise. I didn't find the volume that I maybe have found at other shows or other trips, but I still think there's some really cool stuff here. I think I found a really nice kind of variety of stuff. We got some really nice high-end stuff, as well as some more affordable stuff, which we don't always do. We also got quite a bit of stuff in the middle, which is kind of the main thing I look for. So let's dig in, let's see what we got. I always say this to some extent, but this is not every last item. There's a handful that we're working on setting up right now. There's a handful I've actually already sold, but these are some favorites, so let's see what we got. We'll start here. This was a guitar that I got right at the end of the show through a trade with Six Gun Music, and that is a Gibson Les Paul Custom 3 pickup from 1978. Very cool example. This is in really, really nice shape for its age. It's fairly original. There's a few small things that have been changed, but this does retain its original pickups. It does have change covers, as you can see, but this thing sounds incredible. And yeah, it's just a cool old Les Paul Custom. So I was very excited to find this and especially find it in this condition. The 3 pickup is pretty hard to find on its own. So to find it this clean was definitely a highlight. We're going to the opposite extreme here, and this is actually one of the first things I picked up when I got to Dallas. I actually grabbed this before I think Eric and Thomas made it into town. Went to Charlie's Guitar Shop, picked up some cool stuff, and this is one of the things. This is a 1975 Fender Precision bass in natural. Very sick. Pretty thick neck on this one, nice and wide, so if you like a big neck, this definitely does that thing. It's aged very well. Lots of wear in the finish there. I really like how the headstock color has aged a bit as well. But once again, pretty original bass. It doesn't have the covers, but otherwise, it's original, which is great. Sounds great, plays great. It's a good P bass, and it's got the original case, but not the original handle. Somebody got really creative there. This is a guitar that walked up to our booth. I was very excited to get in. This is a Fender American Deluxe Stratocaster. So for many years now, Fender's been doing like a kind of modern version of their Strat. At one point it was the American Deluxe, it then became the American Elite, and then now the American Ultra and American Ultra 2. So they're always doing it, but it kind of started here, and yeah, this is just a solid Strat overall. This example in particular is from 2011. Stock locking tuners, compound radius neck, noiseless pickups. These are the N3 noiseless pickups. I actually really like this era of the noiseless pickups, as they're probably a little too hot for Strat pickups if you're trying to be traditional. But because of that, they're also hot Strat pickups, so I really like them. They probably are a little more compressed than like your more vintage style Strat pickup, but as the name would imply, there's no noise, no hum, so we like that. This does have the S1 switch here. But here, it's kind of more of like a super switch where it brings in the neck pickup for positions that wouldn't normally have it, like here or in the bridge, so I do like that. If you're looking for a Gibson to go out and gig that's not something like crazy collectible, but still unique and sounds great, this is definitely a cool one. This is a Gibson The Paul 2. And it has Seymour Duncan pickups. It has a 59 in the neck and a JB in the bridge. Obviously not original, but this is kind of a precursor to the Les Paul Lite that you see now, as it's nice and thin. And actually, aside from it having a gloss finish instead of a satin finish, pretty similar spec-wise to the new Les Paul Modern Lights. And yeah, this particular example is from 1996. Very straight ahead and relatively affordable Gibson, so you'll have to see it. It's definitely something I've been looking for a lot more lately. It's like cool Gibson stuff that isn't crazy expensive, that you can just kind of take out and enjoy and not be as worried about it. So every time we can find something like this, it's a win. This one is definitely a favorite of mine, and if you know my taste in guitars, you'll know why immediately. This is a Gibson Les Paul Special from 1995. This is the same year as my Les Paul TV Special, but there's one glaring difference here, and that is that this no longer has the P100 pickups. It has DiMarzio humbuckers. Normally we don't do a ton of like super modded stuff, but there was just a really cool vibe with this guitar. I really liked it. It sounds great, and actually, you know what? Let's go plug it in. This is a guitar that we have not set up yet, and it'll probably look a little different by the time that you see it on aflashfootygear.com. Here we have a quite hard to find Ibanez Tallman. Now it has a P90 pickup, and it has a pink volume and tone knobs and a pink pickup selector switch. So I'm gonna see what we can source to get this kind of looking a little more original, but I don't know, it has kind of a cool vibe the way that it is. I probably will switch these out, but I don't mind the P90 in the bridge. Usually it would have another lipstick pickup like this, but I don't know, maybe once we plug this in, we'll kind of see how it is. But if this rips the way it is, it'll probably stay like this. If we feel like we need that lipstick pickup, we'll try and source one and get this kind of looking a little more original. But yeah, cool older made in Japan Tallman from 1994 and a very unique finish. These next two I will show kind of at the same time as we got them from the same person, as well as some other gear. Here we have the Epiphone Les Paul Custom in Koa. This is a newer one, and like I said, we were able to find some more kind of accessible price point stuff at this show. Both this guitar and the next one I'm gonna show, as well as a couple others that aren't in the haul here, were traded in towards a really nice Gibson Les Paul standard, so that's always cool. I kind of love doing those deals where people bring us a bunch of stuff and they move up into what they really want and move into kind of a more like high caliber piece. I think this was a good example of that happening, and also allows us to have some stuff like this that we might not have otherwise. So if this is more in the budget than some of the crazy stuff that we show, then we got it. We also got this Squier J. Mascis Jazzmaster. And this is from when they were actually using proper rosewood fretboards. So this does have a very nice board. Well, it's not like a crazy expensive guitar. This still plays very, very well. The board gets my seal of approval. And if you're looking for a Jazzmaster in this price range, this is pretty hard to beat. We're gonna keep with the more affordable theme, but into a very different type of guitar here. We've got the ESP case, but what's inside is an LTD. This is the SC208. This is obviously an 8-string. If you're playing heavy music, you know what's going on here. If you're not playing heavy music, you actually probably can still do some pretty creative stuff with this, but it might not be the first thing you're looking for. We haven't taken in a lot of 7 and 8-string guitars lately, so I was definitely excited to find this. And once again, cool trade where they wanted to get into some other gear that made more sense for what they were playing at the time, and we're able to take this on. I'm also hoping to see some more like kind of Japan-made ESP Edwards, like more metal type stuff coming in soon, so we shall see what we find. Getting back into something that's a bit more of our bread and butter, we have in Candy Apple Red, this Fender American Original 60s Stratocaster. This board very much meets my criteria, nice and dark, so you love to see it. But this is just a really great Strat overall. This is definitely pretty closely resembling like a 65 Strat with that logo, the neck profile and other appointments. It is worth noting on the American Original stuff, they actually do a more modern radius and more modern frets, so you get the 9.5 radius. But otherwise, pretty standard for an American vintage, like reissue style guitar. And it's got the case, the right case, which I will say most of the ones we get in do, but it's just always nice to see it in these nice G&G cases. This is a Fender American Vintage, so a bit older, 62 Jaguar reissue. I know I've said this in other videos recently, but right now it's really tough to find American-made vintage correct Jaguars, especially like from the newer Fender lines. They don't really make anything right now. So anytime I can find an American reissue of the Jaguar that's, you know, vintage correct, try to pick it up. And this was one of those situations. So here you go. I will say, I specifically really like the tortoise guard on here. I just like how it's kind of figured there. Very cool. Next week, we are going to be doing a video on some of our favorite Fender offset guitars, which just happen to be from Japan. So be on the lookout for that video if that sounds like something you'd be into. This is a weirdly hard to find guitar, not a super high-end guitar. It is a Gibson, as you would probably assume from the bag, but this is a Gibson M2, or basically a Melody Maker 2. This was a sequel, if you will, to the Gibson Melody Maker that they did maybe 10 years back. And just a very stripped back Gibson, obviously Les Paul style, solid humbuckers, but very straight to the point. You got a maple neck here. I should say you have a raw maple neck, which you don't normally see on Gibsons, but this example in particular is from 2017. They don't make these anymore. I don't think they're gonna make these again. They were cool for what they are, but they're definitely a little different than you'd expect for a typical Gibson, but we got it. Another Gibson. And another affordable Gibson too, which is great. This one is a limited run melody maker that it did in TV yellow. And it's got P90s. And it's got the full-size headstock too, which a lot of times with the melody makers, you'll see these smaller headstock, but that is not the case here. Very cool guitar, nice and thin, sounds incredible. If you know me, you know this is up my alley. Again, not a super expensive guitar, but definitely kind of a favorite of mine. It's cool. Here we have a 1979 Fender 25th anniversary Stratocaster. And in really nice shape for its age. A lot of times these will be super aged and they'll be like nearly gold, but this one still has some silver notes to it. It's pretty cool. Nice and clean. Get the limited anniversary neck plate there. Outside of the collectability of this is a very straight ahead 79 Strat. Plays great. I like the neck profile on here. It's kind of right in that sweet spot of being not too thick, but not too thin. And yeah, it's a 70 Strat. Definitely one of the cleaner examples of this model I've seen. And it's got the right case too. This is a pretty serious Les Paul. This one is a employee book match top, Gibson Les Paul Standard Premium Plus, with a pretty cool root beer quilt top, as you can see there. As you'll see noted on the back, this one was book matched by a Gibson employee. It looks like it says Dan Williams, so thank you, Dan Williams. We appreciate you hand selecting and book matching this top for us. Pretty high-end Gibson. I actually kind of love that, like, it's got some wear. This one's definitely been played. Someone has enjoyed this. Sometimes with the more collectible stuff like this, we'll only find it in like mint condition, but it's always cool to find stuff like this where you can tell like this has truly been enjoyed and played. And I hope whoever gets this next does the same and takes it out and plays it, as that's what they made it for. Here's the last guitar we're gonna look at today. And it is the only acoustic we have here. This is a Gibson B15 from 1968. Very simple, straight to the point acoustic guitar, but this is in really, really nice shape for its age. Melody Maker size headstock. This was definitely a more budget model back in the day, but it certainly doesn't sound like it. It's a really great sounding guitar. I'll show. The way that it's checked on the back of the neck is pretty sick too. But super nice guitar overall. Let's go see what this one sounds like. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video and hang out with us today. Let me know down below in the comments what your favorite guitar was from this video. I think for me, it's probably the 95 Les Paul Special with the DiMarzio pickups. Like I said earlier, I'm not usually one to look for modded guitars, but just had a cool vibe to it. It's actually really close to the one in my personal collection. This one was actually made only a month before the one that I have, so it's no surprise that it felt right at home for me. We had some great finds overall from this trip. We saw a lot of good friends in Texas and had some good times, so always great getting out there, and we can't wait to do it again. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment on all that good stuff, and we will see you in another video soon. Bye.